Welcome back to the Two Yachts for a Saint podcast, powered by Acorn Joinery Leeds. Uh, Myself, Gaz, Carl, and Jordan as usual. Carl, you want to go straight in with the news round, mate?
Yeah, we'll go straight in. Good evening. Whilst we're recording, so we're listening and watching on the normal places. Super League news before we get into the second Ashes Test series. There's a bit from Bradford here. So Bradford, they've signed young prop Doro from my beloved Hull Kingston Rovers. He's penned a 2-year deal at the Bulls. I'm just going to quickly touch on this one, fellas, because he looked very promising in the minutes that he got for Rovers this season. I mean, he looked like a carry the ball straight off the back fence every time and repeatedly go. There was a few areas in his game, but it was definitely a strong carry of the ball. So I'm quite surprised with that one. I can only assume that Willie Peters and his coaching team have got somebody else coming in, or there's somebody within the ranks that can step up to that plate. I mean, guys, you've probably seen it over the years with St. Helens that, some things just don't slightly work out, even though they look like they're going to.
Yeah, I mean, I said to you last week that it was a bit of an odd one, in my opinion, but like you say, I mean, he might have been offered a deal and he's gone, well, I might get more game time over there, so he's probably better for his career if that's what he wants.
I know, I know he was on loan last couple of seasons for. But there was at one point there was doing 2-week loans, 3-week loans, wasn't there? So I
Yeah.
know he's been back and forth to Bradford a few times. So he obviously thinks the cap fits, and credit to him. Good luck, and I hope he makes a good stab of it in the Super League in 26. Tell you what, fellas, these digital logos, Jordan, they're getting popular this season, aren't they? And moving into 26. I mean, Bradford, they've announced a digital logo. What's your thoughts on that, Jordan?
Um, it's like when Castleford did theirs. I still don't like Castleford's logo, but obviously I'm warming to it on the kit. Do you know what I mean? The new kit that they've made. It looks nice on the kit. I think of the logo on its own. When you look at it on its own, it's horrendous. Um, the Bradford Bulls one is, I'd probably say, is worse than the Castleford Tigers one. It's there's too much going on for me there. Like I say, I think I could create that same logo on one of my apps. It's definitely like an AI generated, or it's been done by an app. Let's put it that way. I don't think someone's actually spent time and done it on computer and stuff.
I
Yeah,
did see on social media some poor sods had the old one tattooed recently, and now they've gone and changed it.
I
Yeah,
just I
yeah.
think it's one thing. Like, it's we always have known the Bradford Bulls logo to be what it is. You know what I mean? It's like if Rhinos all of a sudden started changing theirs and made a badge of rhinos and it were more of an angry rhino. Like, would I think that's good? I don't think I would. Do you know what I mean? I think it's sometimes going too much is not the best option. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
So
but
sometimes
yeah,
less is more.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, we won't give a rat's ass, will we? Because we won't be wearing that jersey. I mean, if it's
It's one way of putting it.
if it,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, jokes aside, there's probably bigger things that they have to sort out in terms of Bradford. Their ground, it's like a mud bath in it. I mean, you'd like to think they're going to put some resources into that, but if they feel the need to, go with a digital world and a new logo, then fair enough, and that's fair play to them. So while we're on Bradford news, obviously they're looking to bolster their squad for 26, and they've done so with a couple of recruits. Forward Will Gardner, he's their latest recruit. He's signed from Hull FC. Again, there was no timescale on his contract. The bits I've seen for him when he's played for that lot across the river, he's done okay, but not really lit the world up. He'll probably be a decent fit for a newly promoted team and a young forward trying to make his way in his career, Gaz.
Yeah, I mean I still find it odd the way players go to and from FC and KR, given the hostilities. But end of the day, I mean KR are higher up now. They're the better team, so it'll probably work out better for him in the long run.
Can you just say that again, Gaz?
KR are the better team now over FC. Sorry, FC fans, but he made a good.
Taking a while though. It's taken a long time.
Sorry, not
Difficulties
sorry.
controls your weight.
Yeah,
We're not going to
fair
really end
play
this,
to
are
him.
we?
Like I say, if he thinks that's his best move for his career, then fair play to him. I'm sure he'll get plenty of game time, and he'll make him stronger for him in his career. Bit of news for you, Jordan here, and probably really exciting news in terms of if you're a Leeds Rhinos fan like yourself and many other people out there. They extend the contract of Lockie Miller until 27. Obviously, exciting halfback. We saw what he did to Rovers at the game earlier on in the season when he broke the line and scored a hell of a try. I think you said it was your favourite try of the season. That's definitely a big box ticked in terms of that.
Yeah, yeah. I think, like I say, it's new season obviously next year, so you start again, don't you? But it's nice that you can keep your recruits that you've had from season before, and he's he's definitely improved his game massively since round one. It took him I've mentioned it before. It's taken a while to kind of adjust a little bit. It would kind of not noticeable at all during the first few rounds. Um, and he's coming to his own now to the point where I do actually strongly think that anybody in Super League would probably sign him now. I don't think anyone would, say, "Oh, no, I wouldn't have him." If he were up for offer, I think people would snap him up. It's one of those, though, isn't it? I just hope he's, signing contracts don't always mean out, do we? Look what happened with Brodie Croft when he signed that big pay with Salford, didn't he? And then Rhino signed him, so it's one of those. If NRL come knocking for him, he probably would go home. But for what we've seen, he's signed. That's obviously what we want. You know what I mean? That's. I mean, I don't know if you've got it down. I know Hanley's signed again as well.
Yeah, I was about to touch on that, mate.
Hanley's signed to 29, so that's two. That's two. Obviously, you got your fullback in your centre there, so that's quality. That Fort Rhinos, yeah, 100%. Pleased with that.
Yeah, just for the people who are listening or maybe watching on YouTube. I mean, we record this on a Monday night, and it doesn't always, we release around Thursday time. So within that window, sometimes there's a bit of news comes,
Yeah.
to the fore that we haven't covered because of the time scales. So we apologise for that, and we'll do our best to keep you updated as possible. So yeah, that's a decent signing for the Rhinos in terms of extension. A bit of St Helens news for Gaz. He'll be happy with these two signings. Do we call him a veteran, Gaz? David Clemmer, he signs for St Helens on a 2-year contract, 31-year-old. Massive addition to the pack, brings a lot of experience and a lot of punch. Is that something we need?
Yeah, I'm seeing on social media a lot of people complain about his age, and I'm thinking, well, these same people wanted Mark Steed in his mid-30s, and it's again, age doesn't really matter anymore because with the advancements in like technology and the training and all that stuff, players are going to I think what was the Jamie Peacock played up until he was like 38, 39, something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, he might not be as quick, but he's still going to run a lot of power into the defense line, but attracts a lot of defenders. I think he'll do that. Yeah, played at the highest level, played for the Kangaroos, played Origin. I made up with it.
Yeah, and ultimately, regardless of his age, sorry, if he comes off that back fence, it's going to take 3 or 4 bodies out of that defensive line to get him down to the ground, which makes opportunities for others in and around the ruck. So I see it as a good thing from an outsider looking in. Another piece of news for Saints: young hooker Jake Burns, he signs a 2-year extension at Saints. You over the moon with that, guys, aren't you?
Yeah, I like Jake. He's a good young player. He's not as young as people think. He's 25 now. He was brought in from Alton, sorry. I think about 21, something like that. So he's done well coming from the community game to Saints' first team in a couple of years. I think Paul Rowley will use him properly. He'll have him as an understudy to Clark, get him learning, get the experience behind him, play him more, give him more minutes. So I'm looking forward to see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, you say he's not young, but he's young to the likes of me and you guys.
Oh, well, yeah, he is. Maybe not Jordan, the little baby, but baby
Yeah,
faced.
I think it. Yeah, Jordan's the baby of the pod, aren't you, mate?
Yeah.
That's so you're keeping the average age down. So, but yeah, I think you're right with that one, mate. I think if Darrell Clark can take him under his wing the next season or two, I think he'll definitely be one to watch, and like you say, more game time can only benefit St Helens moving forward.
Yeah, I think
So
me and you
yeah,
both qualify for Masters Rugby now, Cal.
I did 2 years ago.
Hey, there we go. I'm getting there.
I know, mate. Yeah, so that wraps St Helens news up. Warrington Wolves. I don't know to make it difficult for themselves, don't they? They complete a double signing of ex-Rhinos man James Bentley. We know about Bentley. On his day, can be a good back rower, and on his not so good day, can be a pain in the backside, can't he? For coaches, for clubs, etc. We discussed this last week, and we still never sort of nothing came to light in terms of why Rhinos was letting him go. So we just took it as it was something negative. He'll do a job for Sam Burgess, but what I would say is Sam Burgess will have to whip him into shape to get the best out of him. We all know he has his troubles and that type of thing. The other signing was Josh Smith. He can play centre, wing, or fullback. He has only predominantly played in the New South Wales Cup for Canberra. Again, he is a bit of a utility back for them by the sounds of that. I haven't seen much of him, but what I've read is he's scored quite a number of tries within that second tier competition in Australia. This is a very, very strange one, Jordan. I mean, again, we talk about Warrington, and it might come across like I'm having a dig at them, but I'm not. But sometimes I like to air the messy laundry, don't they? The messy laundry in public. I mean, Warrington Wolves, they have released, before they've even signed him, Pangai Jr., who was literally signed from Catalan Dragons. Jr. has informed the club he won't be honouring his 1 year contract that he signed at the end of this season. I mean, what comes across somebody when they're announcing that in public is sort of beyond me. What I would say is he has got previous for upsetting club owners and club officials, because when he played for the Dolphins, it was a similar thing where I think he'd gone in there, upset a few people, and then they wanted rid of him. So I mean, probably a good thing, that Warrington sort of have parted ways with him, Jordan. When you read into what I've just sort of said.
Yeah, no, it's like that with anything though, isn't it? I know Leeds had issue with McDonald when he wanted to go home, and even now I still don't know the full story about it. But we released him, didn't we? Because he refused to come back over. I think it's just like one of those things. I think when you've got a player who's interferes a little bit, or just kind of is a bit mouthy or doesn't agree with things, it's not good, is it? And like I say, it doesn't put him in good stead for his rugby, because people don't want to work with people like that. So, and it's not just rugby; it's anything, isn't it? It's if you're a musician, if you're a footballer, anything really. No one wants to work with you when you've got like that sort of attitude. And like I say, the fact that he did it public as well, it's what I mean. It's it's not cement, is there, than doing a public announcement. You know what I mean? It's quite poor, really, and not to obviously stick to his word as well.
Catalan have got a knack of signing players like that, though, haven't they? Who've had controversies, let's just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was sort of thinking earlier on when I was reading my notes before we came on. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, Gaz, but like you get these big signings come over from Australia and they've got big profiles. I think they must come over to Super League and think, right, I'm going to do what I want here. Because why do we get players like this? I mean, it's like, oh, I can do what I want. I've got a big ego. I've come from the NRL, but and without labeling him too much. Sorry, I mean, it's just not the case. You can't just come and do what you want, and these players need to be held accountable when they are making silly decisions like this and coming out in public and saying, "Oh, I've signed for them, but I'm revoking now." And Jordan's right, guys, because really now, knowing what they know, who's potentially going to sign him moving forward.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, like you say, when some NRL players come over and they think they can do what they want, it's we've had that ourselves at Saints. Most recently Wonga Blake getting up to no good behind a nightclub that we got. Well, so we've been told, which earned him a song which he didn't quite understand until someone got in his ear and said, "Yeah, it's your own fault." Which I won't repeat because it's a family show. This one. Uh, yeah, I mean, the likes of Ben Barber as well, coming over with his controversies, then put a good 18 months in, goes back over, but he did it over there instead of here. It's weird. You think like they should be like, "Do you know what? We're going over there. I'm going to play rugby every single week. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to get paid well for it." And they just start arsing about. I can't get my head around it.
So when you think
I
of
think some.
Owen Hargreaves, I know that's his middle name, Owen Hargreaves, OKR, who's obviously he's retired now. He came over and did a job. Do you know what I mean? We're part of the treble, and when he looks back at his end of his career, like he'll probably say, even though we're only a year, like that's awesome, isn't it? Really, when you think about it, he's come over, and he's done a job, probably got a nice paycheck for it. He's come over and he's ended his career with a treble winning team, and he were doing it. He were on the. I think he were mentioned that quite a lot of times on Bad Lads Corner, but he did a job, and that's what you want when someone comes over like a profile player. No matter who they are, you expect them to put a jersey on and work hard. So yeah, it's one of them.
Yeah, I mean, if the
Yeah,
club
I
are paying
think.
you wages, you play for that badge, don't you?
Yeah, I was just about to say that if you're a paid professional sportsman, you behave yourself, whether you're Australian, Tongan, England, or whatever it may be. I mean, Weir Hargreaves, Jared Weir Hargreaves, and these professionals. I mean, to me, I tip my hat to them because people say, "Oh yeah, well, you've got to act like you in a certain way if you're a paid professional," but it's not always the case. So to see so many good professionals, I think they should be credited at times, and
Yeah.
sometimes we sort of take it for granted, don't we? So, but yeah, while we're on the subject of Hull KR slightly with Weir Hargreaves, they've announced a new assistant coach. Very very strange one, this guys. I didn't see it coming. Ian Watson signs an assistant coach until 2027. I mean, surely Watto's a first team coach.
Do you know what? I won't mind him as England coach.
Yeah.
That's one of my shouts for the England job, but yeah, it's a mad one. I mean, he took Salford to a couple of finals, caused all kinds of mayhem when he was there, upsetting all the top clubs. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to believe what's doing the rounds that Willie Peters is going to leave after the end of 2026, you're better to take over.
Yeah, I mean, it's one I sort of didn't expect coming, like I've just said. And my theory and what you've just said is the same theory. I mean, we could be totally wrong and could get to the end of 2020, 7, and then Willie signs another contract or he goes back home and somebody else signs. But I wouldn't have thought Ian Watson, when he's been a first team head coach at numerous clubs, I wouldn't have thought he'll be hanging around for too long without a crack at the head coach job. So maybe there's a little carrot there for him to say, look, work under Willie for a season or two, you know, build some relationships within the club, and you might take over when Willie leaves. But he's definitely good coach to have even as his assistant because, like you say, he's got a lot of experience, so that can only bode well.
Yeah.
But
Speaking
yeah,
of
good
assistants, by
shout.
the way, speaking of assistants, Super League pedigree going to the Cowboys, Paul Wellens and Blake Green as assistants.
Yeah.
Think it's a good
Yeah.
move for Paul.
Yeah, we was
How do
talking
you?
about.
Sorry, Jordan. How do you see that, guys? That with you being a Saints fan, and I know a lot of the talk back into the Super League season was like it's probably time for him to leave. He's not quite done it. The signings haven't worked, and there's a bit of a rebuild going on. Take it, you wish him all the best over there, and maybe that's the right
Oh,
fit
of
for him,
course,
just
yeah.
just to just to get away from England and sort of reset his coaching career.
Yeah, I mean, he's not daft, do you know what I mean? He knows the game. I think he's probably looked at the whole thing, had a had a word with himself and gone, "Do you know what? I can learn a lot more So he's obviously applied for that job and got it. So yeah, I wish him all the best with it. I hope to see him back in Super League one day.
The thing, like I say, the thing with Paul Wellens is as well. Like I say, this is no disrespect to him either. Obviously, he took on Saints, didn't he? Obviously, it's once in a lifetime. Of course, you go for crack, wouldn't you? I think when they let him go, like I say, this is no disrespect to him. I don't see any Super League teams coming up and going, right, I want Paul Wellens as my coach. So, in as much as I agree and think it's great for him to go to Australia, I feel like he had no choice but to go.
Yeah, I don't think he'd want a head coach job so soon in Super League, like at a rival club. You know what I mean? But it has more to the CV. You're going over to the NRL, you're learning from them. I hope it works out for him.
If we talk just a sec about like these coaches, so it's like your Ian Watson or Wellens. Even recently, we even mentioned this. McNamara, and he
going to Warrington, yeah,
in like the back room sort of Warrington Wolves. So when you think about it, they're taking on these other roles. Maybe Paul Wellens aside, he's probably a little bit different because obviously he's going to learn a bit more. But like the Ian Watson sort of thing, it's all good stuff, isn't it? It might not be head coach, but it's like I've said in group when Carl mentioned it. It's like they're going to have two coaches, so realistically, it's only going to benefit them. But yeah, that question mark is Ian Watson. He could manage Bradford Bulls. He could manage New. He could do Cass' job. He could do anyone, couldn't he? I even actually wanted him at Leeds at one point. So, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
No.
But yeah, I understand why people would say that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, if we're obviously we'll get into all this in a minute, but if Sean Wayne does go out the door, I think Ian Watson's a good shout.
Yeah, I do like
The
I do
England
like
coach.
him. I do like him. Yeah.
Yeah, and why couldn't he do that even if he was an assistant at Rovers? I
There
mean,
you go.
there's no reason why. So the cap may fit. We'll
Well, look
sort
at
of see in
Christian
the next
Wolf. He's the
few
head coach of
months.
Tonga, and he's now head coach of Dolphins, so it can be done.
But Danny Maguire didn't take over, did he? Do you know what I mean? Danny Maguire was
Yeah.
assistant, wasn't he? KR. He brought through. He helped with Mikey Lewis, didn't he, and Litton.
Well, he signed Litton and Alden, or at least he put the names in front of him.
Yeah, like I said, he didn't get the job in the end, and he moved on, didn't he? But it doesn't always mean it's a bad thing.
No, one door closes, another opens, as they say.
Yeah, of course it does, yeah.
That's it. It's all experience and relationship building as well. So it'll only be good for Wello's career. And like Gaz said, we'll wish him all the best, and I'm sure we'll see him again in the Super League at some point. Last piece of news coming out of Castleford Tigers this afternoon. Their back rower, or former back rower, George Griffin. Bit of a funny one, this. I don't know if Castle playing silly buggers or what, but he put a tweet out earlier on saying he never got his last salary after his contract ended with the Castleford Tigers. I mean, again, we talked about Pangar Jr. earlier on in terms of the washing being aired in public. I don't know what's going on at Cassie because they're supposed to have this new owner and new coach and all this and rebranding. I mean, isn't it a good look for them, Jordan, is it?
No, it's not. Like I say, being perfectly honest, I didn't hear that news, so I don't want to comment too much on it because, like I say, I don't want to say all that ain't true. But yeah, in the terms of like the payment and stuff, like I say, if that is true, we know what happened with Salford, don't we, without them getting paid and etc. And the fact that they're on a bit of a rebuild, just like Bradford are with new logo and all that stuff. No one wants to see that. And like I say, I don't want to dwell too much into it because I don't know. I haven't read that news, so. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Well, that is not actually a rumor or anything like that. That is what George Griffin posted himself on his social medias. So I mean,
Right,
contract's finished. He's been moved on. He's just waiting for his last paycheck. I mean, don't see why he'd lie about something like that at all.
Yeah.
It's just like I say, it's a bit of a funny one that if he had been paid, obviously he wouldn't have made them remarks, would he? So hopefully that can be sorted. it's news, but it's not on the pitch related news. Today, 3rd of November, marked the official opening of the Rob Burrow Centre at Seacroft Hospital. I mean, they're doing great things there, and he has for a long time as Kevin Sinfield and Rob's wife, etc. So, anybody that's looking for any support with that type of thing, there's obviously that facility there now. I mean, friend of mine, Craig Eskery, he's had M&D for a couple of years now. So it's a subject very close to my heart because he's a good friend of mine. So yeah, that's if anybody hasn't seen the facilities or they haven't been online or anything like that, get yourself on, look at the specification and all that type of stuff. What's within the centre, and you'll see how remarkable that facility is. I mean, all I can say is the people that's raised that money to have that facility built is a massive credit to you all, and I'm sure myself, Gaz, and Jordan, all the viewers from the Two Yorkshire First Saint Rugby League podcast, will wish you all the best with that. And obviously, it's a massive thing for the memory of Rob Burrow and his family. So credit to everybody involved. So that pretty much wraps up news round. Shall we go straight into the review of second test, fellas? I think it was plenty to talk about in this sort of segment of the show. Yes. I mean, we're all looking forward to it, so let's get straight on with it. The 13 and the bench was as follows: AJ Brimson, Dom Young, Jake Wardle, Herbie Farnworth, Tom Johnstone, Captain Big Nose, as Jordan called him last week, George Williams. Mike Lewis was out and Harry Smith was in. The props was Matt Tilley and Mike McMeekin. Des Litton at hooker. The two back rows was Kai Pearce-Paul, Callum Watkins, and loose man and Superman, Morgan Knowles. The bench was Mikey Lewis, Alex Walmsley, Morgan Smithers, and Eli Milegsky. Right, this is going to be a fun one. I won't going to read this out, but I'm going to give him it best. The Australia squad was follows: Reece Walsh, Josh Adokar, Patoni Staggs, Gemma Shablilaski, Mark
Shabaski.
Mark Shabaski, Mark Tikanawaze, I think he's called, but they call him Marky Mark. That's what they call him for short. The halves was Cam Munster and Nathan Cleary. Prop was Big Tino Fasolawali and Lindsay Smith. Hooker was Harry Grant and he's their captain. The two back rowers was Angus Crichton and Hudson Young. And the loose man was Pat Carrigan. Their bench was made up by Ruben Cotter, Koloma Tangalangi, Tommy Daden and Lindsay Smith. I mean, two strong squads, fellas.
Did you just put Lindsay Smith there twice?
Yeah, I did. It's Lindsay Smith and there's another Lindsay. Can't remember his surname now. Can't believe you've pulled me up, Gaz. I can't believe it.
Listen, if I don't do it, the viewers will, and that'll be even worse. I've thought about always. It's Lindsay Collins and Lindsay Smith. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
I think Collins started and Smith was on the bench. So we started off pretty well, fellas, didn't we? I mean, it was a funny start, and 2 minutes into the game, there's a bit of a scuffle early doors, and it's one of them. It just started really, really funny. Cleary, Australia got a penalty, and they took the conversion, made it 2 points to 0. At that point, what are you thinking, Gaz?
I'm thinking that, given the start of the game, they got a little bit concerned. Because if that Aussies side need to think about taking 2 points early on, then it shows that the confidence isn't there, but I think there's a bit of panic in there as well.
I mean, I don't think I've ever watched an international game of rugby league, and within 2 minutes, a player from each team has gone to the bin to sit down. Jordan, have you ever seen that before?
I am. No, I am. I mean, I'm a strong advocate of what it used to be like, where you get team warning. I've always said, I'm sure I've said this to you guys before. I think a straight sin bin. I think a straight red. Like when it comes to like the Adrian Morley one, back in day. If it's something like that, then fair enough. But I think even commentators said it though, didn't they? It's like it set an example for the game, which
I think the ref's just putting his stamp on the game, going, "I'm not standing for it."
I don't.
In the end, he did.
I don't disagree with that, but I just think for 2 minutes in game, it's Ashes, it's a high powerful game. English are trying to get one back. It's Ashes, it's international. You know what I mean? I thought it was a bit harsh, to be honest. I didn't think there were sin bins.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is as well, guys. I mean, you'll start reffing a game like the referee did. You've got an high standard to live up to, and if that's the case, you're gonna have yellow cards left, right, and centre, aren't you? So,
Yeah, I
them
think,
too
like I say,
early.
I think he's just took that and gone, right, I'm not having this in my game. You go and sit down, you go and sit down. Let's get on with it. But as we'll find out later on, that wasn't the case at all, was it?
No, but you've seen it before in the past where they start with them type of standards, and it can backfire. And next thing you know, you've had 4 yellow cards within the first half. So I think referees just have to be careful at times, don't they? How they sort of officiate certain games and moments in games. So yeah, at that point, it was a bit of a funny start. The Aussies led 2-0, and then to be fair to England, they played really well in that first half. I mean, we had some good pressure without really scoring any tries at all within the game. But at 7 minutes in, we got a penalty for a nice shot, and obviously, when you're playing a team like the Australians, any points that are on offer, Gaz, you take, don't you? And Harry
Yeah, of
Smith
course.
converted to make it 2-2.
Yeah, I think it just it's important to get like the points on the board early. I mean, I know I'm probably contradicting what I said about Australia taking the 2 points, but like you say, when you're up against the best players in the world, and you get the opportunity to take a couple of points, you're going to take them.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it was a good start from England. Like I said, got themselves, within 10 minutes to a piece, and I thought at that point England sort of pushed forward better than Australia. I mean, went down the middle a couple of times, caught, Jez got the ruck speed going, won a few back-to-back six agains, and then we ended up with some decent field position, didn't we? I mean, we was in some really good spots, but like I said earlier, without really threatening their try line too much. I don't know. It was a funny one at that point because when you're on top in a game, Jordan, you're just hoping that you take your opportunities, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with what you said. It is a funny one. My take on it was, I think I think if Australia wouldn't have gone for them 2 points and they'd have scored from that penalty, we would obviously wouldn't have gone for a penalty. You know what I mean? I think the fact that, like I say, they set that benchmark of right, I'm doing 2 points. It kind of made that sort of game, didn't it? But yeah, we just we did so well in. If I'm being honest as well, I think we had a lot more penalties as well, which I think helped us get downfield a lot, which I was surprised about. I didn't think we were going to get that many penalties. I think that played a big factor of as field position. But I do feel like we did rattle them. We did rattle them. I've never seen Australia knock on so many times. And I do agree. There were a point in that first half where I think we had 54% of possession, and I think we did five full set, like successful sets, and we were on stats. We were better, and I actually did think. Gaz, you messaged on group and said, we've got him here,
Yeah,
and it were like, I
yeah,
watched. I were like, yeah, I actually do believe it. We're rattling them. I don't think they've ever been rattled like this for a while. And I thought you know what I mean? I think they've turned up here and thought, Jesus, English are going to give us a game. And I think we scared them a little bit.
yeah. I mean, in the stadium as well, the way we were playing, you felt that the atmosphere of it we're having a go, and we've got
Yeah,
a good chance of this, and we did up until like the second half, to be honest.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think the biggest word I sort of found myself using within that first half was intent. The intent was there from the off.
yeah,
The
yeah, it
the
was.
land speed was there. It was
Yeah,
quicker to get up in the Aussie faces. I mean, it was literally all England for that first half an hour, 40 minutes. Sorry, none more so than when Williams puts a short kick in. Reece Walsh knocks on, and then I think Morgan Knowles knocked on. To be fair, I'm not sure why I went up to the video referee. It was fairly obvious that there was a double knock on. I mean, Morgan Knowles made a right effort to try and get there, and unfortunately knocked the ball on. And at that point, it was all England. We were just literally penned in there, sort of red zone for quite a while. On the 25th minute, Gaz, Morgan Smithers, he comes on. He put a bit of a shift in as well as Morgan Knowles, didn't he? I mean,
Yeah.
Like we had plenty of punch through the middle of the field at that point.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I seen the tackle at the back of the net, I thought, oh God, please don't be 10 minutes because the last thing we need, Bo. Didn't do much wrong in the game. I think he just had a little bit of a brain fart in that moment. But yeah, I think Smithies had a good game.
That we went under legs.
Yeah. Yes, it was funny. It was like a cannonball tackle, wasn't it? But just not as, there's a certain height you can tackle at in terms of the legs, isn't there? So I mean, he put some really good effort around the ball at that point, and then like Gaz said, he sort of switched off. I mean, they got a penalty for it, and the Iceman converts to make it 2 points to 4.
The Iceman, but Gomez Adams more like.
I tell you what, mate, I won't mind as many grand final rings as he's got. So
I'll tell you, someone who's got just as many as him, Morgan Knowles.
He don't play for Saints anymore, Gaz.
I know.
Hey, listen, he'll always be a Saints player in my eyes.
He'll sponsor him, Gaz.
He'll be getting
a secret sponsor of Morgan Knowles.
He'll be catching a jet with him at the end of this week.
I think we all know who his man crush is anyway, Jordan, don't we?
Hey, listen, I'm comfortable with that kind of sexuality. All right, leave me alone.
Hey, I tell you what, though, going back to the game, I mean, Morgan Knowles, yeah, he's not, he's an absolutely quality player. And I don't know where he gets his energy from in that first half, because every shot he was coming out that line with, he was really letting the Australians know that he was there. And I mean, moving forward in terms of when he plays for the Dolphins next year, I think he's going to roll a few heads over there in the NRL.
I think he wanted to lay a marker down saying, this is what you've got coming to you next season.
Yeah.
Be ready for it.
Yeah.
Although
like that way
the best hit of the game was Matthew Lees. But I can't remember who it was now. Was it was it Crichton that he left or something? He's the number 12. He absolutely leveled him. Legally as well, by the way.
That's what I was trying to say as well. At that point, it was without sounding too cocky. We was quite dominant. We just couldn't come away with any of them sort of points at that point. It was like all the effort we put in, we just sort of didn't get the rewards for the field position and the effort that we did put in. It was a funny one, and against the majority of the other teams in the world, we probably would have scored points, wouldn't we? I mean, at that point, obviously Australia are on the back foot, and Nathan Cleary does what he does. Gaz's favourite number 7 of all time. He puts a 40-20 in. And then at that point, you're thinking, right, they're playing now. The Aussies are going to throw some at us. And then it was just so uncharacteristic that from the following set of that 40-20, they just throw a forward pass. Referee called it because it was a forward pass. And again, we was back on the front foot, weren't we? I mean, one of them, you're approaching half time at that sort of thing, Ian. You're just thinking, like, right, get to half time and sort of go again in second half. So 2 minutes before half time, Walsh gives a penalty away for an escort on Brimson, and you're thinking, right, bonus, take the 2 points, and we're going to half time at 4-4. But at half time, I was sat there waiting for the second half to go, and I'm thinking, we should be winning this. How was this only 4-4? I mean, what was your thoughts in the ground, Gaz?
It was one of them where you look at that screen, you see the score, and you're thinking, we're playing Australia. We shouldn't even be in this game.
Yeah,
and we were more than in it. We were ahead. If you look at a box and we're ahead on points, you know what I mean? But I weren't concerned at half time at all. Like I was like quite laid back for me. Because you've not seen me at a game. I'm vocal, let's just say that. But I might have had a few choice words to say about Aussies, and then at full time I turned around, I'm like, there's 5 Aussies sat behind me. But no, they were a good laugh, to be fair. Credit to them Aussie fans in that stadium. They're all a good laugh.
I mean, it was like the first half, Jordan. It was a bit of a funny, scrappy start to the second half. I mean, both England and Australia spent 5 or 6 minutes knocking on, and sort of, neither team could get much field position. It was really scrappy. I mean, what did you sort of think early second half, guys? Jordan, sorry, would you fearing the West, or was it just a case of trying to get some momentum back into the game?
I think we gave so much in first half. Like Gaz says, it were like say we've been 4-all. You'd think we were like in front there. I do strongly believe that we should have scored in that first half. I think that was what would have helped us. I think we should have scored a few tries, or at least a couple of tries, and then got into break, maybe 12 points up. That would have probably done better for us. But yeah, going into the second half, I think we were just trying to find his way back into game, like feeling sort of game again. Because when you think of Australia, I know I've said this a few weeks back. Australia don't always play bad. They might have a bad 20 minutes. I do actually strongly believe that we still haven't seen Australia play the best in this series.
Not close.
I thought if we had a chance to win a game, it would definitely that one, because you know what I mean. I've never seen so many knock-ons, and I would have thought we'd have scored a few tries. I'll be honest. I am really like puzzled how we didn't, especially when they went 12 men down. But yeah, I think like I say, I think it's more in that sort of game. Australia just find a way to get in, don't they? It's just it's hard to watch really.
The things are when you've got that much quality in the side, things just sort of come off for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like obviously Reece Walsh makes a mistake with a knock on, and it's just by pure luck on their part that Knowles just doesn't get hold of it properly.
It's like it's similar to like when Saints used to do it though. It's like when Saints weren't like when they were still in game and stuff, and it's like they've got the quality to see the game out, and that's what it was like with Australia. It were right with four apiece here, but they know they might be thinking to themselves, Jesus, we should be winning this game, or we should be blowing England away. They were so bad last week, but they were still 4-all. It was still equal, and they knew that they had the quality in the team to see us out. And it was one of those things. It's like the end of a football match. Teams tire, and they knew they had the quality in the end to do it. And I said this other week. They might not play fantastic, but they know they can still win, and that's kind of obviously what happened.
Yeah, I mean, what I've noticed with Australia is they don't play a good 80 minutes of rugby league. They'll have moments.
Yeah.
And that's the difference where the coach comes in when they have them moments. Yeah, like went over for that try. You know what I mean? Just the tap back and goes, right, I've got this and I'm gone. And he had the pace to get there. You know what I mean? Little moments that are where they come up with something.
I think for them to have them moments though, and what they always do is they defend well, keep themselves within the game, and then when them moments come, they take the moments, and that's what the best teams do, don't they? I mean,
but what's my saying? Defense wins championships.
Yeah, and that's another, the proof's in the pudding again with that one, isn't it? I mean, it's sort of big game, small margins. I mean, England did a lot wrong in that second half. I just thought they looked a little bit out of ideas at times. And the two tries when Munster went through, it was just lapse of concentration, wasn't it? I think the Cameron Munster try, I think was it John Stone that sort of just switched off a little bit. They scored a try and play the try after that, the one you're just discussing, Gaz, Hudson Young, he goes in on the corner. But to that point, again, what I'm trying to reiterate is that at that point, England had been on top for the majority of the game, but Australia's defence just kept them in it.
Yeah.
And as soon as them opportunities came around.
Yeah, we had a couple of repeat sets on their line and they just didn't budge.
I just wanted to say, Carl, as well. Do you know when you're about the Munster try? Because I've been wanting to say this all day, literally. As soon as you were saying Munster try, literally, this is how I saw the game. Everything were fine with England, how they were playing. In Australia, we were playing it with 4-all. It was a close game. Now I think when Munster scored, that's when England should have turned on and been like, right, they've scored now. We need to score. And because we didn't score, that's when game went.
Yeah.
We it didn't matter how many sets we had, how many times we were in there. Didn't matter. If we couldn't put points on board, that were it. The game were over, and the game were over after the Munster try. And that's where it turned for me. That's where it turned for me. I'm looking at the first half. I'm going, right, set half time. It's 4-4. This is great. This, yeah, we should be winning. I can take this. No one scored. You know, we've kept them out for 40 minutes, which is brilliant. And then it comes to second half, Munster scores, and it's like, right, they're, like Gaz says, they're coming to play now. And it's like, right, we need to have an answer for that. And we didn't.
Like, come
And we
up, like,
scored.
off the kick, have a good defensive set, keep them deep as you can.
Yeah.
But even doing that, when you've got Nathan Cleary, you can kick a 40-20 with his eyes closed, you know what I mean?
So, I mean, that was the difference for me. It were, we've let that try in. Yeah, it were, lapse of concentration, whatever, but, the facts are they scored. And as soon as they scored, my head went and I was like, oh, I don't see us having in it to score. Like, I think the Knowles one, I think that was closest we got.
Yeah.
And we're just like,
I think when Munster goes over, mate, I think they smell blood, don't they? So as soon as that high kick goes up towards Johnstone, and obviously he can't collect the ball, and Hudson Young goes over for two sort of quickish tries, and that makes it 14-4. That's the point where I thought they've smelt blood. They've had us within 5 minutes, scored two tries within 5 minutes, and that. Yeah. I know you're saying about Munster that being the point for you, but for me it was that second back-to-back try, and it just sort of took the steam and the energy out of the England squad, and I imagine Gaz, it took sort of zapped a bit of the atmosphere away in the ground as well.
A little bit, but for me, it was like, well, it's 2 converted tries. It's possible. It can be done. I just sort of looked down the floor and thought, oh, I've still got a pint there. That was just my reaction.
Well, do you know what? I was thinking?
Eh?
I was thinking, like, when we say about Australia hadn't played the best, which they haven't. When you think of it as we were 14-4 down, I know for a fact game's gone at that point because their defence was immense. Like, we've only scored 10 points in 2 games. And granted, the first game was a bit of a shit show. But
it was a lot better.
It was a lot better. And I do feel, I am a bit upset a little bit that we didn't, score more points because I feel like we deserved more points. I just also want to have a shout out to Harry Smith because I was wrong. And I'll put my hands up. I thought he was the change we needed. And his kicks, pinpoint kicks, he actually did make us a lot better in that game that we were missing from last week.
I mean, we could have had a bit
mate.
more of an advantage. Yeah, sorry. I just want to go into Reece Walsh here because he's getting a lot of flack at the minute for the the knees up in the air where he got sin bin for, but I don't think it's as bad as it's made out to be. Because even if Dom Young collects the ball, he's up there competing with it. And you see a lot of replays where it's like in slow motion, where it looks a lot worse. I think the eye tackle
when you finish
a worse challenge.
Yeah. The thing that I am actually this is why I was so passionate about it when it happened. When you go back 20 years, right, and you look back at Willie Mason and
my new mate that I met in the pub.
Yeah, your mate, yeah. His new teeth.
I'm not surprised because Peacock Point knocked him out.
Knocked him out, yeah. When you think back 20 years ago, right, and you think of the hits on field and the clothesline on long, because they should have been off before even that long clothesline. And then you look at that tackle at weekend, right, with Walsh. And I'm not saying that it were on purpose because it wasn't, obviously. I know he couldn't stop himself, but those decisions don't go our way. They never do.
No.
When you look back at Aussies back in day and you're like, it's just been an eye tackle, that's a red card in the Super League. And they get away with it and they don't even get a sin bin. It's just a right pat and shoulder, you know what I mean? And I actually sat there for the first time after watching England and Australia and I thought, do you know what? they're actually going across board with this head thing, and I thought it was something that blew my mind because I didn't think they'd do that, especially Australia. Not saying that like the bias or like that, but I don't know. I just thought the Australian ref actually picked a lot of things up, which I was surprised at because, like I say, you used to do it, didn't we? When we had Great Britain, and you'd have an Australian ref in. I'd look at game and go, it's over already because he's biased. He's gonna fix the game, and
I think Liam Moore gave them more last week than
yeah, he did.
the Aussie ref did.
I also do think the video ref had a bad game.
Well, Joe, he was just terrified of overturning that Aussie ref. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
I was
think
absolutely terrified of it.
yeah.
Sorry, fellas. I'm just gonna make a point here because I've got some notes written down. So that that passage of play where Walsh jumps up and makes contact with Dom Young, he obviously gets sent to the bin, like we've just said. I don't know if you picked it up on telly, Jordan. Obviously, Gaz was at the game, so he won't have done. But sometimes when they go to the video ref, I don't know if it's the same in Australia or what, but in Super League, they go to the video ref and then you don't hear the on-field referee, do you? Well, I noticed in comms, I picked up that the on-field ref on Saturday was trying to advise the video ref, which I thought was quite controversial because he was saying he thinks it's this and he thinks it's that, but then he's already sent it up as something else.
You
So I
mentioned
thought that was
Simbin,
quite.
You mentioned Simbin.
Yeah, and
there.
I don't know if any of the viewers picked up on it themselves, but I certainly did, and I didn't know. What's your take on that, Jordan? Do you think it should just go up to the video ref and it should be him to determine the outcome? Does it need the input of the on-field ref? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, like I say, they both work together, don't they? That's kind of how the game works. But I feel like if the on-field ref sends it up, for me, that's him handing the responsibility over. I don't think he should interfere with it. Then it's you know what I mean. It's for video ref to decide. But just going on that tackle alone, I did actually think it was Simbin. I did actually think it was Simbin. And do you know what? As well, I think what made it worse is the fact that he might have not caught the ball. He probably didn't catch the ball and score it anyway, but it took him out of the game, and I think that's what made it worse is the fact that we chipped at corner and he didn't get that chance to catch the ball, and because of his head went back a little bit, I think that's what made it a lot worse than it was. But it's an hard one. It's an hard one, but I think we'd have got a red card for that, if I'm being honest. If that had been us,
Of course, we bloody would.
yeah, I think we would have done. So I'm actually holding up to that. People might disagree, but I actually do think it were a right call. That.
Yeah, I would probably say it's the right call. I mean, it's one of them.
It's a call I didn't
probably
think
not meant to do.
Honest.
Yeah, it's probably not. He probably not got jumped up there with not any intent to injure Dom Young, but unfortunately, when you go aerial, there's going to be collisions in there, and somebody's going to come off worse than the other person. I mean, to be fair, Walsh gets put in the bin, and obviously England sort of get themselves into the game a little bit more. And to England's credit, fellas, they did give it the best possible crack they could. Obviously, they was running out of time, but ultimately, when you're playing against 12 men, and you're having a bit of time in their half and not quite coming up with any points or any tries or any clear breaks, I mean, it's always going to be a struggle from that point onward, guys. I mean, they played a lot better, but I was just a little bit disappointed because that was the time to go at the Aussies and try and get some points on the board.
Yeah, it's like we've said, the way they've defended as well. It can get in the heads of the England team as well. I think, but I just can't break these down. Like, what do we have to do to break these down? And it's bound to get onto the minds as well, not just physically, but like obviously mentally. We just can't break them down. I mean, how do you answer that?
You don't, do you? I mean, like I said, I think I said last week, didn't I? You're playing against the best. England are up there as one of the better national teams. I think there's a slight gap between us and them, and unfortunately, England just couldn't make that period of pressure count.
I think when you think of the World Cup, like, you know, they're down to 12 men, and you know they were saying it on commentator, weren't they? They were sliding in the defence, and when you think about it, when you're Australia or you're any other team, if you're putting your effort into defence more than your attack, but you know you've already won the game, all you have to do is just stop this team from scoring, and that's basically what they did, you know. And us looking into it is like, right, we've got a man overlap here. We should be scoring. This is our moment to win the game, and it was the moment to win the game. But Australia just switched on and went, right, all we have to do is defend here, and we've won, and that's all they have to do, and they did it.
Well,
That's where they have that advantage, because they know they can keep us out. They know we couldn't break them down.
Yeah, they cost one another's defence, don't they, as individuals and as a team. I mean, you back yourself, and they had the points on the scoreboard, and ultimately England sort of looked tired in the last 5 or 10 minutes, and they couldn't sort of break them down when they needed to. I mean, unfortunately for Dom Young, 5 minutes towards the end, I mean, he went off. I didn't actually quite catch what his injury was. He went off. Reece Walsh comes back on to sort of see the game out. Ultimately, though, fellas, we was on here last week and we complained about the final result and the effort wasn't there, and we didn't think the right personnel was playing in that game. Surely, I know it's a defeat. You know, we got beat 14-4 on Saturday against the Aussies again, but surely it's a positive thing that we're a little bit closer than we was the week before. What's your take on it, Jordan?
Yeah, no, like I say, there's positives in there, 100%. You know, I think big difference is we turned up. I don't know whether it was because we needed to win the game, and that's probably what gave us a kick up backside. But you know, we were in the game. You know, it wasn't like we played well and you know that we're still better, etc. I think we were the better team over 40, 50 minutes. I think we were the better team, and I'm sure Australia will agree with that. There's a lot of changes in there, a lot of things that I didn't think were great off the off. I don't think Jez should have played from the beginning. I think he was our spark, and I think we played him from the beginning. He kind of, like say, no disrespect to him, he kind of then lost that, you know what I mean, that feel to him. He was just been a normal hooker on the pitch. For me, he's your impact player, and you know, you have this point where we're down to 12 men, and I said, didn't I, in group, we need to get Mikey on before 70th minute, and he just got it on. He just got him on just before, and it was right. This is it now. But I just don't think Mikey was the person to bring on off the bench. I think he should have been the one that played from the beginning. Obviously,
can I have a little rant, please?
Go on.
I knew as soon as I looked at that lineup, when I saw Lewis on the bench and no Clark, I knew exactly what was coming. Carsdon, I knew exactly what was coming. There's no way he's going to play in the halves. He was going to go on at 9. And I'm like,
ultimately, fellas, this team has been made around George Williams, rightly or wrongly. Because if Williams doesn't play, Lewis plays at 6, Smith plays at 7, Darryl Clark probably starts at 9, and Jez comes off the bench. So ultimately, the way I see it is everything's revolved around the captain, George Williams, whether we agree with it or not.
Did I not say this last week? Did I not say this last week when I said he can play the worst ever and he'll still pick him?
Yeah,
he'll be biased and he'll be sticking to his point and he'll be like, right now he's playing. And I actually said, didn't I? He'll play him in all 3 tests, even if he's playing bad, just because he's that stubborn that I don't want to take him out. So it's one of those. Like I say, I think when you're picking your lineup, it's like, right, just give the person who you think's gonna do something. And for me, Lewis and Smith should have been your 6 and 7. But I mean, obviously you can't put
that
Smith
game was crying out for Lewis.
Yeah,
that kind of game would have suited him, where there's a bit of a
he could have done well in.
There's a bit of handbags early on, knowing there's going to be some tempers. That's where he can get involved and go like that, just wind people up.
Yeah.
And then start playing his game.
It wasn't his game first series, game. We weren't in it in that first game, but the second game, 100% I agree with you. We had him on ropes, and I do think he was, like I said, I don't think Litton should have been starting. I think that's what didn't help us either. Do you know what I mean? You're bringing Mikey Lewis on, just 69th or 68th minute. Game's gone. You need to be making better choices than that.
Yeah, I mean, of all the things that went wrong last week, the biggest one is the one they didn't try and fix, which was number 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
I
this
don't-
is
I
going to
don't-
sound.
Sorry, Carl. I don't think he played really bad. I'll be honest. I know he did a couple of decent kicks, but you know, end result, he didn't stand out, which is what you want. You know what I mean? He didn't stand out. And go, Jesus, George Williams is on pitch. Like he didn't stand out, and that's what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's quite ironic, actually. So I'd seen an interview with George Williams afterwards. I think it was the BBC, and he came over, and I think it was Sam Burgess and Kev Brown. They was asking some questions, and ultimately one of the questions was, "Do you think England are good enough?" And I don't know about you guys, but it was so ironic that he said, "His words, not mine. This is George Williams. Some of us actually aren't as good as we think we are." Now, for a captain to come out and say that when he had questions,
He has to be
all
holding
over the
himself accountable
country.
there.
Exactly. I just thought it was quite ironic, and I'm thinking he's probably the main culprit,
Yeah.
So, but we knew that was going to be the case. There's nothing we can do to change it. So yeah, final score was 14 points to 4. A good attendance of 51,106. And this week, I think all three is in agreement. We haven't gone for an official player of the match. We've gone for two Yorkshire for a Saint podcast man of the match. And for me, Morgan Knowles was absolutely outstanding in that first 55 minutes or so. I mean, blood to water, letting everybody know he's there. Very few penalties given away. He knocked on for a potential try, but that's the way it goes sometimes. So, I mean, can we all agree, lads? He was probably up there as England's best player.
Yeah, and I think I do agree, but I think Jez Litton's up there as a very close second as well.
Yeah, I agree.
I
agree, mate.
I have to have a shout out to Callum.
Yeah, he had a much better game than Bateman, put it that way.
Do you know what? Do you know why I'm mentioning Callum Watkins? Is because he's the person that I said should have been in that lineup, whether it was starting or bench. And I said, didn't I, that he'd be an impact.
Yeah.
And yeah, we didn't make breaks, etc. Like we would have done, but you could see him trying. You could see him doing offloading. You can see him spinning in tackles. He set the platform in some of his attack play. We just didn't.
He rolled back the years a little bit as well, to be honest.
Yeah. He's pretty nippy to be considering he's like 34. So yeah, I actually do. I know it's a bit of a biased one, but yeah, I do think Watkins played well. I thought Oledzki were quiet. I'll be honest, but I do think Watkins played well. So yeah,
he was better than Pierce Paul.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Knowles, 100%. And Matty Lees played well as well.
Yeah, that's it. So, my last word on the second test, fellas. I mean, I want to try and keep it as positive as possible. We was definitely a lot better. The intent was there. The intensity was there. The team selections was slightly better. I mean, played well for a good chunk of the game, which we didn't do in the first test. So for me, it's only positive. Yes, we're still a little bit away from the Aussies, but we've got to be able to build moving forward. So yeah, I mean, Daz and Jordan, I'm sure you're going to take us through what you think should happen in the third test at your place at Headingley. Jordan, I mean, do we expect many changes there? We all know test sort of the Ashes is done now.
Well, it is, isn't it? I think it's still important. I'll be honest. I do actually think it's. I was actually thinking about this last few days. I do actually think it's still massively important because we don't want that 3-0, do we? So I think if we can take it to 2-1, I think in some weird way we'd see that as a positive. I want to see Harry Newman play at his own ground. I want to see him play, and I know he won't play. Obviously when you think of Jake Wardle and you think of Farnsworth, obviously them two are better than him. I can't say that, but they both haven't been outstanding. So for me, why not throw him in there? Do you know what I mean? Like when you look at us as wings and you look at us centres, we've got really good quality there. But the bottom line is we haven't got past their defence. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of those. So for me, I'd throw Harry Newman in there for last game. I'd put Darrell Clark back in. Put Jez Litton on bench. I'd play Mikey. Play Mikey at 7.
Not a bloody chance on the Sean Wayne, I'll tell you that. There's no way you're going to put Mikey Lewis at 6 while that gobshake's there.
Sorry, no, yeah, sorry, 6, not 7, 6. Put him at 6. And I'd have Harry Smith at 7. But yeah, George Williams is. I don't know. Do you know what? I don't even think Brimson played well. I actually wish
He didn't have a lot to do, did I? He didn't.
No.
He didn't have to have a lot to do, so I just
Considering the stick,
can't really judge you.
Considering the stick Wellsby had, he didn't stand up and go, "I'm taking his shirt." Oh my God, Brimson were fantastic. He's definitely better than Wellsby. It wasn't that at all for me. Like after that game, I'm thinking, to be fair, if they're his two best fullbacks, I'd have gone with Wellsby. So
yeah, I mean, they didn't really target AJ, did they? Really, they sort of targeted Wells being like kept him out the game, but yeah, I think AJ was a bit more defensive than Wellsby is naturally as a fullback.
Yeah, and I think also, obviously, we were going into it. We don't know the intents of the injuries, but did Johnston have a bit of a knock as well? Kind of got absolutely smashed in it. And obviously, Dom Young went off. So for me, even if them two are fit for weekend,
Burgess.
surely put Burgess in, yeah, surely give him a run out. So for me, they're kind of your changes. Like I say, I actually put my hands up. I thought the props did a decent job. I think they did. They actually did put a shift in. The way that he utilised the props, I thought that were pretty decent. I'd probably take Alensky out and put somebody else in. But yeah, everything else were all right, I suppose. It's a team as well that you can't really realistically change all of them. Do you know what I mean? You can't realistically give a full different team because it would be a weaker team. We know this. If Knowles is playing, we're automatically a weaker team. Do you know what I mean? So, who are you going to put at 13 if you?
Yeah, Spur thought for us next season then. There's some massive boots to fill.
Yeah, well, we know this, don't we? Yeah, but that's my team, Carl. Just a few changes, yeah.
Yeah, I can't really disagree much with that.
Yeah, I don't know with me. It'll be a funny one because I'm trying to think like Sean Wayne would think. Obviously, a lot of it's nonsense, but I'm trying to think that does he go back with similar players to what he played in the last test on Saturday and give them the opportunity to try and redeem themselves, or do you just see sort of the series is over? Let's give some other players a chance to put the England jersey on. I mean, how do you sort of look? How would you look at it, Gaz, if you was the coach?
Do you know what? I would just go, right, we've got nothing to lose here now. So I'll put Mikey at 6. I'll put Wellsby back at 1. Put Clark, like John said, put Clark back at 9 and just see what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one of them games where you can throw a bit of shit at the wall and see if anything sticks.
You know what I think as well? And obviously this might be completely false, this. And obviously we don't know what's going on in Wayne's head. Like we haven't for the last 4 weeks. We don't know if he does think like Gaz, where he's just gone, we'll just do this, this plan. But for me also, surely you want to put the mindset in Aussie's heads that they're flying home with a loss. Winning that game at weekend, even though they've won the series, they want to win 3-0. They do, and I've said this for weeks. They hate losing. So for me, and I don't know if you guys have heard. John Wilkin. John Wilkin said it and said, if Aussies don't beat us 3-0, that's like a sham to their country in their league. Because he thinks
I think that is more Wilkin being a bit bitter, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I was just about to say, just to put that theory into the sky. I mean, I was reading an article today on my lunch that I've read that the Aussie squad have all travelled up to Scotland on the train.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, yeah,
So basically, they'll be on the piss for a couple of days before they come back to Headingley. So I
yeah.
mean, I'd imagine they'll be bringing some changes as well, Gaz.
Yeah, I mean, there's I said there's Dio's name like no debutants in the squad, so I reckon anyone who's not had a run out yet will be playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, innit?
So,
All will be revealed. That is for sure. So I mean, whether they change squads or not, I'm pretty sure it'll be a decent watch again from both teams, Gaz. I
yeah,
don't think we'll. I mean, I think we're just about there, aren't we?
yeah. Just before we wrap up, I want to imagine everyone's obviously knows what's happened here. Wish all the best in the recovery for Eli Katoa after that nasty injury. But last update, he was stable in hospital, so that's a good sign.
Definitely. Gaz, you was there. I just reminded me there was a charity match that you was wanting to promote. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so it's to raise funds for rugby league cares, which obviously we all know is a great thing for the ex-pros. It's also in memory of Bryn Hargreaves. Bryn's mum has organised it. There's a lot of ex-Saints and Wigan players in his side against the rugby league All Stars, which you got Adrian Morley playing for him. I think Stuart Fielding's the coach last time I seen him. A lot of ex-pros in there. So I've been asked to go down and cover it in that number with my own podcast. Um, Interview some players, get some footage of the game, promote it a bit more. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going down to that. Just try and get as much raise as we can and get a good day for Bryn's mum mainly.
Where is it? Where is it held, Gaz? Is it up your neck of the
So
woods, I believe?
it's Wigan St Patrick's on the 16th of November, 1 o'clock kickoff.
Just make sure, Gaz, when you're interviewing players, just make sure you take that top with you and just swap it.
Don't just get it signed.
Get some footage.
Yeah. Like you say, I mean, if I'm sure they won't mind if I pass some footage on, and obviously you can post stuff on this one as well.
Aye.
But if you go into, in fact, if you go into in that number podcast on Instagram and TikTok and that, there's a link to the Just Giving page in the bio.
All right, okay.
Good work, mate.
Aye.
Yeah, I'll
Certainly
say, well,
does.
thank you to everyone who's still listening, watching, and just keep liking, subscribing, sharing, and all that carry on. Big thank you to our sponsor, Acorn Joinery Leeds, for helping us out so much, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, you will. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Adios.